Okay, now we're recording. Time for another 15 minutes worth of table talk to make Crash edit even more.
Bold of you to think I edit out the table talk.
I know you don't.
Of course I don't. Everything is content.
Are you saying
And
you're
we are
contented
content
with
with this.
Oh, yeah, I was about to. Good. Well done.
We won't discuss my actual opinion of the word content. However,
Indeed.
It has been a time of learning. Adelina, Devon, Caracinda, and Robert followed the ugogs into the stone room. A room full of, well, stones. But these stones are standing stones and covered in a history of this ugog colony. And they made some very fascinating discoveries, which I'm going to let them tell you about. But in the meantime, the place is grouting. The time is about a week after the fire that destroyed Dunmarch. This is Plus Ultra. What happened last week?
We made friends? Yeah.
Hi, Beth.
We learned that the ugogs were cursed.
Hi, EO.
we learned
I
how
wasn't
many
here last time,
ugogs,
so I don't know. Go ahead.
Hi, Jed.
and we learned how many ugogs will press their ears up against the outside of a door after being told to leave.
Hi, Crash. Yes.
And the answer is most of them.
Yeah, quite a few. And I'm Ellie. So, what did happen last time? I mean, all those things did happen, but anything else?
Banter.
Banter.
That's true.
We learned. Oh, right. We started getting a translation of our Rosetta Stone book
Yes, you did.
with the help of a young, helpful ugog who knows, like, more languages than one, and apparently ugogs know a lot of languages, or several. I think I recall them knowing they know at least two, and the one
Yes.
that we're talking to knows probably at least three.
We learned
That's
that ugogs have 4 genders. He, she, they, or
That's more or less accurate.
and when they decide to choose, they choose their gender, and if they decide to switch their gender, they go into an egg, which is not a cocoon. It was called a cocoon, but it looks very much like an egg, not a cocoon. One should not attempt to remove an ugog from their egg.
Indeed. They will come out of their egg in their own due time.
For the revolution of the world. I broke at least 2 of the players with that.
Old Rob noticed
Very fragile.
that when Old Rob asks a question, we have 45 minutes of digression before he can ask a follow-up question. And he was starting to realize what it's like on the other side of that scenario. Never encountered that before. And was determined to not learn anything from it. And for that, he earned a point of XP.
Hey, sometimes I'm not going to learn anything from this is character development.
He has 4 XP, and if he spends 4 more XP, he will go up to tier 2. And I have not done that because I don't want to think about what choices I have to make at tier 2.
That's fair.
Yet. I may also be scrolling through the out-of-context quotes.
Lovely GM went not with that attitude at Old Rob's refusal to learn.
Yes. Also, the GM earned 3 XP as awarded by Crash. These XP do nothing unless the GM chooses to have them do something. There's enough house rules in this game. This game is held together with house rules, duct tape, and baling twine. And it is a fine, fine vessel that is also apparently airborne somehow. Don't ask.
I'm keeping track.
Oh, dear.
Well, you've just earned your 4th XP.
Excellent.
The GM increases their edge by 1.
Concerning.
That's how the GM got her
After-
edge.
Learning quite a bit and bonding with these weird creatures you didn't know existed a week ago, you were led to a sleeping room. It's currently unoccupied, and you were allowed to basically claim it as your own for the night, at least, and get a good night's sleep.
Aren't the beds made of stone?
We brought our bedrolls.
Yes, but you brought your bedrolls, and maybe some of you prefer the cold, unfeeling stone
Nope,
to
I
a
do.
soft, warm bed.
I do
Right,
not prefer
yeah.
Nope, 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 nope. My bones are too old for that.
I prefer for my bed to not be able to feel anything, so I like the concept of unfeeling, but I don't like the practice of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Adelina's just gonna crawl into her blanking on the word and just go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bedroll. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. It's been a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of walking while you were hunched over. Your shoulders hurt.
Ugh.
Honestly, Adelina probably hurts the least of all of us.
Yeah.
She's got some
But-
strength. Yeah.
No,
The-
you're smaller than we are.
Oh, smaller. That's true
Yeah.
too.
The ugogs also are smaller than Adelina is.
Hmm.
So,
Also, apparently, if you put the word rolls in square brackets, D1C3 will roll 2 Star Wars dice. And for the record, I got 1 failure, 1 threat, and 2 light pips.
I would recommend not spending any of those.
But if I have a threat that I spend, that's how you get more XP. It's a GM intrusion.
that's true.
No, it is not.
In this game,
Okay.
Star Wars FFG actually has a thing for GM intrusions, though, and it involves the Destiny pool.
Oh, right.
That's why they call it Force and Destiny? Or is that a different thing? Never
That's
mind.
one of the 3 game lines that make up the game.
Never mind.
I can't think of the word destiny without also thinking of that one scene from Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's fair.
No escaping, that's for me.
You wake up gradually. There's no emergency or anything. You just wake up.
Oh, my back is killing me. I'm gonna.
I'm up. Old Rob is not up.
You're absolutely not up. You're no more up than I am.
Old Rob may or may not have rolled off the stone bed
Oh no.
and then used the
That's
bedroll as a
fine.
blanket.
I mean,
Whatever works.
This was not a conscious decision.
this is a very.
Yeah, it was an unconscious decision.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The other members of the party might have been woken up by the thump of old Rob rolling off the bed to have the bedroll settle down upon him.
What's going on?
I'm up.
You're down.
This is 5 more minutes.
Well, lovely day, everyone. Let's do that thing that it is we were supposed to be doing.
Oh, what were we supposed to be doing? Oh, right, we have to find everybody. Oh, right, the discussion that we might need to try to find how to get back and actually hunt people down when they went to.
I'm up.
No, you're not.
There is now 1
Nope.
foot of old Rob's that is on top of the stone bed.
Oh, wow. That can't be.
Elevation has been improved slightly, therefore old Rob is not technically lying.
You know, I bet I could get a good sharp stick. Doesn't have to be that sharp even. Just kind of pointy. And then you can take the stick and you put it at the sole of the foot and you go.
And then I poke that stick with another stick. Then I mail it to myself.
Or to
No, no,
save
no,
on
that's the
postage,
wrong.
you could provide a GM intrusion.
No, I want to see what you do.
No, no.
You're in the sleeping quarters of an Ugog hut. It's pretty much exactly the way you left it, except it's a little brighter outside.
Now that's a little bit concerning because we're underground.
There is the sound of a million twigs being stepped on in the forest as old Rob stretches.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if old Rob thumped when he hit the ground so much as rattled.
Oh, wow.
It may have been a variety of percussion instruments.
Yes.
So long as there's no xylophone.
Including, to everyone's chagrin, the rarely used Quaker.
I don't know what that is.
Because it's rarely used.
That's why.
What is a... Never mind.
A Quaker.
Yes,
I
that.
don't know.
Neither do I.
Doing a search for it, I find something on Warframe and also a type of appears to be waterfowl.
It's on
How do you spell this word? Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Oh, with a C.
Portuguese, yeah.
Okay. Those things. Those
I guess
things are
it's
cool.
technically a Quaker, but
Probably, yeah.
Quika.
everybody I've ever heard say it says Quaker.
Quika. Quika. Quika.
Then again, they're Brazilian.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm going to say you hear a Quaker when old Rob's head impacts with the floor.
This information, this instrument says it is Portuguese for the gray four-eyed opossum.
Since when have possums had 4 eyes?
I suspect it's
I don't
because of
know.
dark spots.
I'm okay.
Oh, it could be that. Yeah. Okay. We're
No
kind of
light
back
spots.
again.
They have light spots. They have great big, like, white eyebrows that are kind of round and right above their real eyes.
Oh, okay.
So I love the fact that old Rob canonically is wearing a bathrobe because it totally makes sense in this imagery for old Rob to be pulling his bathrobe tightly around him. He slept in it, I assure you. Why take it off? It's like extra blankets. But he pulls it tightly around him as he goes over to the door to find out who turned the lights on at this ungodly hour of 4 p.m. or whatever. That's not 4 eyes. That's incredibly comical eyebrows for that possum.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can see how they would think that they looked sort of 4-eyed in some of the
It
images.
looks permanently astonished and embarrassed.
Poor little guy.
Anyway, to further the plot, old Rob is trying to find out why it's so bright out.
It might be morning.
We're underground.
We're underground.
Huh.
Old Rob says this as he's
I look
walking
around to
out
see
the
if there's
door.
any life. I'm gonna look around and see if there's any actual light sources in this room, other than the ones we carried with us from the tower.
So help me if everything's on fire.
I'm not going to like that.
Oh no.
There are actually light sources in the room. They're not everything's not on fire. There are glowing stones
Oh neat.
set on either side of the door that are they were very dim when you went to sleep. Now they are quite bright.
Oh, cool.
And in
That's
fact,
weird.
the same is true outside too.
All right.
They have a dimmer
And
switch.
what are they, sunstones? Is that a
Mm.
thing?
I don't
Is
know.
sunstones even a thing?
Can I make a roll to see if I know if it's a thing?
You may. A 5. Let's see. Magical theory, magical practice,
Intellect edge 3.
intellect edge of 3. My goodness. Yeah, you've heard of sunstones. They're not very common, at least not in Dunport, but they exist.
Yes, they're sunstones.
That's a thing.
Fascinating.
They get brighter
Well,
when the
it's-
sun's up.
They can be tuned.
It depends on how you set them.
I wonder if these things have had any time slippage. How long have they been doing this?
Well, maybe till they run out of fuel. I don't know what's fueling them.
Magic, presumably.
Could be.
Yeah, it's so the way sunstones work is they can be set to go. They can be set for certain times to like dim and then brighten again. Trying to think of the word, and all I could think was undim.
It's a good word.
That's fair. Works for me.
They can be manually set, or you can tune them. I mean, it's basically the same thing as timed, but you can tune them to the rising and setting of the sun. And most of the time, when people do that, it's what they actually do is set them to maintain an ambient light level. So when the sun's up, the sunstones are dark, and then as the sun goes down, the sunstones brighten, so that the light level remains the same.
Neat.
So the question becomes, I suppose, if this is set to the sun rising makes the light stones brighter, if we're at the middle of the night oh, who cares? We need to figure out how we're going to get our people back. And that means figuring out how they got sent places and maybe going to have to go back after them. I think that's what that...
Yes, we need to track down that artifact.
And
or
we track down
something
that
like it.
Iago fellow. We need to bonk him on the head with a frying pan. One of the iron-lined ones.
Yes, I rather agree.
All right, well.
I wonder if they've got any frying pans around here. We could trade for in a actual beneficial way.
My understanding is they don't have any metal here.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep.
Odd that.
Mhm.
You'd think
Maybe
they could dig up metal.
I don't know. Maybe they don't need it, or maybe they just don't like it. Maybe they're allergic to it. I don't know.
Well, you need tools to dig it up, so they don't have much in the way of tools, I suppose.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, I suppose a big enough rock would suffice for Iago.
Didn't someone already try that once?
I suppose I'll have to try with a bigger one next time.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time, canonically, that Old Rob has acknowledged that the rock wasn't an accident when it fell on Iago's head.
Oh.
He kept
He
referring
dodged.
to it as an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Plausible deniability.
Hmm.
I'm sure Iago would be much more cooperative with a concussion.
You'd think that, wouldn't you?
Uh-huh. It's worth a try, don't you think?
I don't know. If he's got a concussion, he's not going to make sense anymore, and we won't be able to have him tell us where the people went or something like that.
Yes, well, but be cooperative.
He's full of self-entitled nonsense. You think he's going to be understandable in the first place?
I don't know.
I don't. Nope.
What worries me is, we probably know where he is.
I've got 2 ideas where he might be.
I got one.
Well, that's one of them, I'm sure. It's one of mine. He might have a place hiding out in that witchy woods, where the food was starting to get a little bit weirder looking. Or he's in the town with the queen.
The queen is looking for more of these.
Is it her that's looking, or is it him that's looking?
Exactly.
How much of a difference is there right now?
Probably not much.
Not much.
Well, we
There is
were
one.
going.
Actually, there is a difference. There is a difference. And the difference is whether she's magically under control or whether he's just fooling her with an illusion again.
Those are 2 of the 3 options.
Oh, there's a third.
She could be in on it.
He could be impersonating her.
That's 4 options.
All right, 4 options.
Hmm.
Our 2 best options, our 3 options are 4. I'll just come in again.
No one expects the optional inquisition.
Well, yeah, we were told it was an option, not mandatory.
Right.
Exactly.
Why do we even have that option?
It sounds like Karasinda maybe has a little more faith in the monarchy than several other members of the party.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I didn't vote for her.
Faith. And now he's just kind of...
Why would she want to burn down and get rid of a couple of perfectly good towns It's not like there weren't people who, you compress the people getting intermarried and you start getting the weird jaws and stuff. It's not good.
Can we stop talking about compressing genealogy and rather compressing Iago's face with a frying pan?
Works for me. He don't need much of a nose there now, does he?
So where do you want to look first?
The woods are closer. They're the low-hanging fruit.
And
that, yeah.
possibly less guarded.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Yeah.
And I
probably.
believe we were going to attempt to check on some of the outlying outposts.
Good idea. Good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, was that our cover plan?
And might be.
Are you having this conversation in the room?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean,
That's good to know.
It probably takes a while to pack up our stuff, so it's not like we're just standing around. We're actively making sure that the room is left the way we found it, probably.
and also
No,
making sure that nothing gets left behind that will turn into communal property.
Everybody look under the beds and make sure you're got everything.
Yeah.
The bed's made out of stone. I don't think there's an under. I have to start digging.
And which is the one that we've seen since we arrived, Ube or Abe?
I have to look that up. They are Abe and Ute is the one that you've seen.
Okay. So we also check under the bed to see if Ute is there, because there's a non-zero chance that we will adopt Ute if given half an opportunity.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
Mhm.
Abe is Abe sent.
Yeah, Abe is not here.
A fish
Abe
falls
is
from
not
the
here.
sky.
Ute is not here.
Abe is in abeyance.
You're thinking of Abba.
Close enough.
They're in a band. They are the band.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably have a bite to eat out of our packs, since we don't want to impose on our guests to feed us. After all, they probably need all their food for them.
Indeed.
Old Rob has had half a granola bar sticking out of his mouth for the entire time he's been packing up. He's been talking around it. About
Oh, that's nothing new.
about 1/4 of it is stuck in his beard. That's how he saves it for later.
Oh no.
This is not
Best
news
be
to
careful.
anyone.
Lure a bird in.
More protein.
Yeah. Too many feathers.
You eat around them.
No, you do. I don't eat a raw bird. I pluck them first. I'm going to go mute because I have to put up the groceries.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
Okay. You eat. You tidy up, especially with Karacinda present. Karacinda is trained in housekeeping.
Heck yeah.
And there's one thing I meant to mention and forgot, which is that although the beds are stone, they are not like hewn from the living rock. They were deliberately cut separately and kept here when the room was hollowed out, or they were brought here from somewhere else. But they're separate from, they're not attached to the floor. They move around.
Are they a
wouldn't
different
move
kind of
around.
rock? Different kind of rock?
No, this the rock here is pretty homogeneous.
And this rock
this
is
is,
limestone, and this rock is limestone, and this rock is...
Yeah,
Is this a sedimentary deposit?
this room at least was cut from a single, to use the technical term, chunk of rock, and the beds are made of the same stuff. This is to avoid green circles. This is not an important detail. I just thought you should know.
Fair enough.
Yes, but now we're curious.
You can ask if you want.
I did a search for stone bed and found this very disturbing image,
Oh no.
which doesn't have anything to do with bed.
No.
Those look like stones.
And there's water beneath them, I would think.
Some kind of liquid, anyway.
Yeah.
I would not want to be standing there.
Oh, that might be pumice,
Oh,
which floats.
Ooh.
neat.
And then there's this truck bed, or ex-truck bed.
Oh no.
R.I.P. truck suspension.
It is not an, yeah, it is not an X truck bed. I suspect that is an X truck Bad.
It's now a lowrider.
Mm.
You see sparks just flying out from underneath it as it tries to drive down the road. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, we're packed up and walking out the door.
Yes.
Do we see any ugogs on the way?
You see so many ugogs on the way.
Is it a sea of ugogs that we see?
No. But the ugogs are up and about and doing their business. They are engaged in the
politely.
business of being
Ugogging?
ugogs.
Wave politely.
Okay? You
Alright.
wave politely. Some of them wave back.
Oh, good.
I'd like to think we made a good impression.
Hope so.
One of the young ugogs you met yesterday is carrying something and bumps into you. And oh, sorry. Oh, are you leaving?
We are.
I'm afraid we
now.
are.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay, you should talk to Daro before you go.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
That
you
was
very
our
much.
intention. You've been so kind.
Okay.
So kind. So good.
The little ugog grins and runs off at as good a speed as they can, given that they're carrying something.
okay. So where do we find the ugog that this child mentioned?
Daro is the
One that
shaman
told
who
us
met you when the shaman who met you when you found the hive. And they were showing you around last night.
Oh, okay.
Daro is in their chambers. They are apparently reading something.
Okay.
I
Is there
know
a
this is
door
not
to
canon,
knock
but
on?
having them reading something makes me think that they're there with like a newspaper and reading glasses that are pulled low down to the edge of their long nose.
Oh.
Where the
That is not canon, and yet that is exactly the impression that I wanted to give.
Oh, good.
it's the arms of the glasses are incredibly long so that they can pull the reading glasses down that far. And they're the half moon style of glasses. Where it's like just the reading lenses of bifocals.
Yeah.
But yes, not canon. But we all see it.
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, you woke up.
Yes.
That we did. Thank you much. Thank you for your hospitality.
Indeed.
Oh,
Very kind.
you're welcome. You're welcome anytime. So,
Good to know.
Which I believe is part
Where
of
are
the
you headed?
problem.
Mhm.
oh no. Trust me, I spent hours last night coming up with reasons why I should kick you out.
Thank you for
I
not.
decided I didn't have any.
Oh, well, that works out.
Nah. Now, if any of those skies show up here, I got a list of reasons.
Yeah. Not a fan of them either. Only met one. Wasn't nice.
You can borrow our frying pan.
What's that?
It's thing that you cook stuff in it over a fire to blend
Point
the
is-
flavors together, and it
It's
softens
Like a
stuff up.
pot?
Yeah,
Thing
like
is,
a pot, only with a
It's
handle.
heavy, it's durable, and good for thwacking someone who could use a good thwacking.
Mhm.
It's log, it's log,
It's big, it's heavy, it's wood. It's better than bad, it's good.
I have concerns.
Well, have you eaten?
Had a bit of food. We
Mhm.
brought some. We brought some of our own, and we didn't want to impose on you. Do you need a bite? Would you like a bite?
Given what we told you last night, I appreciate your forbearance. It happens that we had a surplus this year, but
Well, you might need to save it up in case you don't have a surplus next year.
yeah,
You-
that's fair. Yeah, the drying racks are pretty full,
Well then.
Drying rack.
and the pickle jars,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and the
sirs.
salt house.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Sounds like
Good,
you're doing
good.
well.
Yeah.
They have so
Well,
much fish jerky.
Is there anything else you need before you where did you say you were going?
Think of heading back and looking around in the forest back there to see if we can find any signs of that Iago fellow. If he's been living in, checking around.
on our
and-
outlying outposts, the people who are supposed to be adventuring head out from.
Oh. Well,
Not going to tell him about y'all, though. Definitely not.
It occurs to
Indeed.
me,
all right.
Hmm?
if the missing ugogs, the ones that haven't been seen who went off to dig tunnels that didn't come back necessarily, if they've been pressed into service by Iago, well, he can disguise himself. I don't think he can disguise an ugog.
Don't know that for sure, but it seems possible he might not be able to.
It's less likely. Let's put it that way. Do I need to roll something to know if it's less likely? Or am I wishful thinking here?
You
I would
probably can't.
say, yeah. To know, yeah.
I do not know.
You do not know.
With an
With an 8,
8,
you do not know.
I likely don't know. So it's old Rob wishful thinking, but that's also the player wishful thinking.
Devin might know with an 8, but on this particular roll, Devin's 8 would be a better 8.
Which is
That's
one of
a
the out of
great
context
phrase.
rolls from last game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that even if he can disguise them, I don't think he can disguise them as grown-ups. So that he'd be disguising them as little kids who were surprisingly competent.
So if he's hiding them somewhere, and they weren't in the barrows anymore, might be in that forest.
Might be.
Yeah.
Well,
Darrow, got an idea, though.
if the histories are right, then if the Sky are using ugogs for something, it's digging.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't know why he'd be hiding them. He'd be making them dig.
The mines. The magic pulled back from the mines, didn't it? Isn't more pulled back now there?
I don't know. Are you asking in character or out of character?
Out of character.
Out of character? Yes.
I mean,
There are
he's saying it out loud, but yeah.
mines that have been exposed.
Depends
I
if that's
wonder-
where he wants digging to happen. If he's looking for
I
more of
wonder-
these things, they may not be in the mines.
Maybe that's where he found them.
We're
I mean-
jumping to conclusions.
No, I'm hobbling to conclusions. I am not jumping at this hour of the morning. I am not limbered up for this.
The point stands. Slowly, with lots of creaks,
Yep.
but it stands.
Mhm.
Ugogs typically don't dig mines. Unless someone asks us to.
Well, Iago might.
And that right there is the problem.
Yep.
But, like I said, we're
Or-
jumping to conclusions. I'm inclined to try to find more evidence first.
Oh, so am I, but that's certainly a potentiality.
It is. But you can take a few years off your life worrying about things.
Well, I'm not worried about it yet. I'm just cranky about it now.
I'd be cranky if it was me. It's not us. It's people who can't help it. So I'm gonna worry.
Well, I'm going to be cranky that Iago's a wretch that we have to worry about these things.
Yes, that's a stated fact.
That certainly is.
We should get
Well,
going
I
so we can...
sympathize entirely, and I'm a bit worried too. I think that, well, that worrying's not going to help very much. So,
Probably not. You can't do much with worry except make yourself more worried, right?
Indeed. Dare. Got a thought. Might
Look.
need to make it look like these tunnels dead end. That there was a cave in the middle or something. Because while I'd like to be able to come and talk with you occasionally because you're a fine person, might be better if other people didn't find you if they go exploring in the tunnel.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And if we happen to find any missing ugogs, I don't think a tunnel cave-in would stop them.
Maybe
Also
just
true, but
block in the end at the barrows so it doesn't look like there's a tunnel there at all.
But what was that sentence you were going to finish, Darrow?
Sorry.
if they're too weak to dig, I want whoever's bringing them back to, well,
I see
we'll
your
figure
point.
it out.
Nourish them up some.
Mm-hmm. Carry him home or something.
Well, you know your
Need to
people
figure
better
out-
than we do. You know how to protect them better
Maybe.
than we do. I leave it to you.
Well, if
All
they're
right.
ambulatory, we can just bring them with, or if they want to go on their own. But if they're really weak, I mean, we should help with that, you know?
So where did you decide you were going? If you're going east, there's only the 2 tunnels, but any other direction, you got your pick.
Maybe you should try the second tunnel, the one we didn't come through.
Worth a shot.
But that means we can't. We
That
can't
is,
check
you'll
out.
recall, the one that goes to Revelton.
Oh, right. Yeah, so probably
Right.
probably best we go back and near the tower and go check out those spooky woods.
If nothing else, we could spend another night in the tower to regroup ourselves before heading into the woods.
That's an option.
It's true.
Get some more of that bread.
It's going to be a long walk. Yeah.
It is going to be a long walk. You know, we're not the tallest people.
Mm.
We've got some tunnels that would get you out to the surface more quickly. Your choice, though.
I kind of like the fact that we aren't seen on the surface when we're taking a trip.
Do like that part. Also,
That's fair.
and also there might be wild magic up in places. Not sure if we're in a wild magic zone right now or not.
We are protected from that.
Underground we are.
It's untested.
You do have the pendants that are supposed to protect you from the wild magic.
Yes.
Indeed. Supposed to.
Keywords supposed to. And old Rob is very keen on the fact that when they were given them, they were told, we think this will work. We're not 100% certain, but we're pretty sure, but no, maybe not.
And we don't want them to wear out prematurely if we don't have to wear them out. At least Caracinda doesn't
Fair
want them
enough.
to wear out.
Is our Lutheran goodbye about to end?
Your Lutheran goodbye is about to end, I'm
Okay.
afraid.
Okay.
With much thanking again for the hospitality and hoping that all goes well. And is there anything that we can do on our way out that would be helpful? Blah, blah, blah.
Each of us, in turn, goes to the bathroom and then comes back before the next person goes to the bathroom and then comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But two of us are elderly, so we have to go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times during this conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only if we're not
Yeah.
mildly dehydrated and probably are.
Oh, that is one thing that they will insist on giving you is the powder that they use for
That
the
is a-
toilets.
Caracinda will thank them extremely much and be quite honored and is quite aware that they probably just don't want us stinking up their tunnels.
They
Therefore.
definitely don't want you stinking up their tunnels.
And
we're given this
she will not feel guilty.
We're given this powder by a rare ugog with a 4-syllable name, Armand Hammer.
All
And
right.
Caracinda will not feel guilty about that one.
Well, with that said, you set off down the tunnel.
If I may request to interject one last thing,
Sure.
and this is, old Rob waits until right before they're leaving, when it's obvious, like, okay, Lutheran goodbye is done. We have done the whole, everyone got in the car, everyone got out of the car to use the bathroom again, everyone got back in the car. We've said goodbye while we're in the car. All right. Taro, based on our previous conversations, I would normally say you don't need anyone to tell you this. But I'm not sure that's true for your people, unfortunately. If you
Yeah.
need to be told this, if it helps at all, you keep them safe. All of them. I'd consider that a personal favor.
Yeah. I've been trying to. That's why I don't let anybody go down these tunnels anymore.
I hear you there.
Good idea.
You're all one big happy family here. Dysfunction and all.
That's part of every family.
That's part of being a big happy family. I forgot how much I missed that.
Aw.
Right.
Oh, Rob puts the fun in dysfunctional.
During this conversation, incidentally, while you're starting off down the tunnel, Daro is physically restraining Ute from going with you.
Oh.
Oh, Ute.
Not safe. No.
If there is the opportunity
Did-
for
did
old
I-
Rob to offer to loan some rope to Darrow, old Rob would offer to loan some rope to Darrow.
Oh, that's right.
Ute,
I
we
got it.
appreciate
Need
it
to look for him.
entirely, but the best thing you can do is stay here and learn and grow up strong, all right?
All right, I'll get big, like Darrow, and then then I can have my own adventures.
Old
When-
Rob
Certainly hope
snorts.
so.
When there aren't skies.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
The player
Okay.
would be very much amused if we ended up adopting this Ugog. Old Rob would not be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
Old Rob's backstory in particular would make sure that he would not appreciate it.
Mm.
and then you
People with
leave
families-
Ute at a village, and
No.
No,
It's a whole
we
thing.
would never. We would never.
we've been playing for about an hour. Why don't you say we take a break?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Why don't we take a break?
Yes. And we're back.
Dun dun dun.
Devin, Rob, Adelina, and Caracinda have made their way back to the Tower of the Unknown Wizard, where they have spent the night, verified that the ward in the ceiling is still working, regathered their supplies, verified that there are additional bedrolls there if they want to leave some behind, and the next morning set off again, this time for what has previously been called the Fey Forest. It's not particularly far from the tower, but I will let them take it at the pace they want to.
A nice brisk stroll, watching everything carefully and picking
That'll
up a few edibles here and there as they get noticed.
Old Rob
Okay.
will be spending the journey telling everyone a wonderful story that involved a mole that we weren't quite sure it was a mole. It could have been a mole. It could have been melanoma. We don't know. But the whole point of the story is Old Rob would like everyone to be trained in noticing things that are unusual.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Also, does this
It's
look like a mole? This thing on the edge of his nose, does that look like a mole to you? By the way, it was a speck of dirt. He hadn't washed his face in 2 days.
Oh.
Well, it's a pleasant enough walk. You find some mushrooms that you hadn't found before and some nuts that had fallen on the ground. It is, after all, autumn.
Oh, I should remove the object in my pocket cipher from my sheet.
What have they got in their pocket?
Pocketses.
Trixie Devins's.
He
Mhm.
no longer has that because he gave it back.
Yes. Okay. You have a very pleasant walk, and within half an hour, you are at the outskirts of a woods. It's not a sudden woods. Like, there are scattered trees around the edges. The younger trees that, like, it's not a continuous growth in height, but you can tell that this is an active forest and that it hasn't been, like, pruned back.
There's nothing
The trees-
keeping it from expanding.
Yeah. The trees are interesting colors, but some of that is because it's autumn. The mushrooms start getting interesting colors around here, as does the grass and the bushes.
Makes it hard to identify if the mushrooms are safe anymore, so best to leave those be now.
Do you enter the forest, or do you... The path continues through the forest. Do you enter the forest, or do you sort of investigate around it for a little bit?
Look, I told you a story
around
about a mole for a
Mhm.
reason.
We're going to
Yes,
poke
let's
around it before we
investigate, but-
walk in. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. And what am I rolling?
A one.
I rolled for a free GM intrusion.
I rolled 2. Well, the next roll will be a 3.
I've got an 8.
Yes, but it's a higher 8 than what I rolled.
Mm.
There's the 3.
Yes, there's the 3.
1, 2, 3, and 8. One of these things is not like the other.
Yep.
It's possible that Jen's character is the one who notices the GM intrusion while the rest of us are oblivious to it.
Maybe.
The GM intrusion is right behind me, isn't it? And now the GM is on the spot to give us an intrusion.
Yeah.
Your glasses fall off.
The mole fell off, but I already said it was a
was
speck of dirt. My beauty mark!
It was kind of misplaced to start with.
It's a scene from Robin Hood Men in Tights. I have a mole?
No, actually, you don't find that. You don't see anything. It's
We don't see any traps, everyone. Mission accomplished.
Oh no.
yes.
Oh no.
Oh no. You first.
Why, thank
this,
you.
This seems like, I mean, it's not like you've seen a lot of forests before, but this seems like a forest.
I enter the forest with the same degree of bravery, nonchalance, and ignorance as Little Red Riding Hood.
It's kind of quiet for a forest, but anyone who's been in a forest or near a forest will tell you that that's probably because there are some big things crashing around.
Old Rob has noticed that anytime he's going through a forest with other people, it's usually, like, the wildlife is usually eerily silent. Old Rob has not pieced together that this is because Old Rob, when walking by himself, doesn't have anyone to talk to and therefore is quiet, but rather assumes that the other person that Old Rob is talking to as they walk through the forest is just making a lot of noise. They don't know how to walk quietly.
Oh.
With a 1, that's how Old Rob is thinking things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what
That
an 8
tracks.
will give me. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, first of all,
Oh,
and it's possible you're not on this map.
I don't own a token on this map, yes.
same.
I didn't own a token on this map, and theoretically I do, and there's my little square, and is this a huge map?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, it's
Oh,
just a dark map.
Yes,
It
I
is
think it's
dark
just a
right
dark
now.
map.
And
black map.
the GM said, "Let there be light."
Oh, there we are.
Ah.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, that's
Oh,
nice.
it's got
Little
wind.
floaty
It's got
things.
sound effects.
Let me get the headphones.
I'm hearing wind and leaves,
Oh,
and I think
I
birds.
can hear it too.
Oh, neat.
Are those giant mushrooms?
Yes,
What?
they are.
Fascinating.
The trees are pretty big too, actually. Like, you saw that the canopy of the forest was pretty tall from the outside, but these trees are big.
Everything here is bigger. The mushrooms are bigger. The trees are bigger. The mosquitoes are bigger.
Are we
Makes one
Texas?
feel like one has shrunk.
Look, the potion said,
You actually
"Drink
do
me."
see some.
We
You do see some birds flitting from branch to branch, and they are normal sized.
It shrunk the birds
So they're gonna
too.
look very teeny. I think they're just small birds.
Yeah, it's if you go for this sort of thing, it's lovely in here. Everything is all the plants are really big. But actually the trees are really big, but their leaves are a fairly standard size.
Hmm.
And closer to the ground, the like the underbrush isn't like you don't see giant shrubs, just a lot of them.
It's getting plenty of water from somewhere.
I suppose it might be bad for shrubs to be giant. I'm not sure exactly how shrubs work. That's not my usual area of study.
Those
That's
are some
understandable.
really big mushrooms. Huts.
You could dig it
town hall.
up. I'm sure I have a book about naturalism somewhere, but it would be more efficient to just ask Harrison
What are we asking me?
if it would be bad for shrubs to be enormous.
Won't much be a shrub anymore now, would it?
I suppose that's the point.
I wonder if my local history would tell me anything about shrubs and their care and water consumption.
I want to roll. I have an adept of botany.
You do.
Does that make that 7 better? Oh, you and your 17.
Look, I remember an old story about shrubbery. There were these knights who insisted that a bunch of adventurers get one. I don't quite remember the rest of the plot, but in any case, it was they got 2 shrubberies, and one was on a higher level than the other one, with a little path going down the middle, and through Rob's rambling, Rob says whatever the GM is giving us as a result of me rolling a 17.
There's nothing particularly preventing shrubs from growing. Like, If the trees are big, you don't see any reason why the shrubs couldn't get that big. They just aren't.
I am sketching giant mushrooms, and I am rolling
Okay.
for fun to see how well I sketch giant mushrooms.
Okay. Adelina, you can't make it out, but the wind sounds like whispering.
Weird.
Like it isn't just wind through branches. It's like it sounds like language, but you can't figure out what it's saying.
Like,
Hmm.
comment, subscribe.
Oh my. Is it louder on one side of me than another? Or no?
No, it's all around you. And Crash, tragically, in this particular forest, one of the things that didn't get bigger is the tubers.
Fifth XP point earned. I hope you're keeping track of this because my memory can be faulty.
I am.
While Devin is investigating the giant mushrooms, Karasenda is also going to just sort of look at the gill patterns on them and whatnot and try to determine if these are poisonous, just make you kind of blargy, or actually edible giant mushrooms.
Old Rob is actually not
Actual
going up to the mushrooms because he remembers. I'm going to argue that Old Rob does remember this unless the GM requires a roll for it. But
Okay.
the part of the mushroom that we see is not the main part of the plant. There's the mycelium, and that is the mushroom. The parts that come up are the spore-bearing
The fruiting
parts.
body.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The part that releases all those little airborne products.
The
And
gills.
there's plenty of things
Yep.
that Old Rob likes to breathe. Plant matter is not one of the things that Old Rob likes to breathe.
They're not plants. They're
Fungus
fungi.
is not something that Old Rob likes to breathe. Old Rob likes to breathe air. That is the end of the list.
Hmm. Did anyone else hear that whispering?
Whisper.
Whisper.
Something was whispering. I don't know the language, but it just kind of was really soft, and I'm not sure.
With a 19, could we argue that Old Rob hears something on the wind? or has that come and gone?
No, it's still there. In fact, everybody go ahead and make me a roll, except Adelina.
Okay,
Adelina, sorry.
that's fine.
Devin and Karasenda, you are much too absorbed in the mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Apparently.
I don't like that.
Scientific curiosity.
Rob, you do hear the whispers now that you stop and listen to it, and they sound really familiar. Like you're sure you hear a voice you know. You can't quite place it.
It's Bob. It's Kevin.
Oh my.
Karasenda, you asked a question a while back that I haven't had a chance to answer.
Mushrooms. Edible, dangerous, or just sort of meh? Or can she tell with 13?
They, the ones you can see from right here, honestly look like if you let a button mushroom and a bracket mushroom grow really big, this is what they would look like. The buttons are the ones on the ground, the brackets are the ones on the trees.
They look like known shrooms, just big.
Yes.
And also,
Evan, you are doing a perfectly passable job of sketching these mushrooms.
Excellent.
Adelina, the wind still sounds like voices, but it's not, or whispers, but it's not, like you're not having any more success making it out.
Okay.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, what's that?
Rob, give me one more roll.
Not as good. This is 12.
With a 12, I'll say you make it. One of the voices sound like one of the adventurers who originally picked you up as an orphan.
Oh, I don't like that. Old Rob is not liking that. Beginning to
You
think
okay?
going into the Queen's throne room would have been a better idea.
Yeah, what's that, whippersnapper?
I can't be sure of it. It's been too long. That whisper on the wind?
Whisper on the wind.
I think I recognize the voice.
Karacinda and Devin, you can give me another roll.
Oh,
Now that you're paying attention for it, yeah, you can hear the whispers. But they're indeterminate. They're just, it sounds like language, but you can't tell what kind of language.
someone is going shush, 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 shush. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like forest ASMR.
Mhm.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's like elf radio.
But the rest of like you still see birds flying between tree branches. If you look closely, there are some frogs you can see hopping around in the grass.
Oh, that's nice. Must be a water source there.
Yeah, if you look real close, just like it's not a spring so much as it is just like, it's like if there was a spring, it's like if there was a water source that hit the surface very briefly and then went back underground. So there's like
Damp
a puddle
spots.
that's damp spots that are like burbling a little bit. But
Well, we should probably move
this
on eventually.
aside from the oddity, this is a really nice place.
Mm-hmm.
Should probably move on. Just tad.
Rob, does it sound like the whispers are coming from somewhere?
Not. Do I have any idea of the direction?
The whispers are all around you, but with that 19, I will go ahead and say that yeah, they're coming from the direction that the mushrooms are in.
It's coming from inside the mushroom. Get out of the mushroom.
I'm not in the.
That wasn't canon, but I do point out that it sounds like it's coming
Okay.
from the mushroom. But we did trace the call.
I want to clarify it. It sounds like it's coming from the direction the mushrooms are in, not like it's coming from inside one of the mushrooms.
Ah, okay. Well, let's go see what it is.
What if it's past the mushrooms?
I was going to suggest that we might want to go in the direction it's not coming from, but I am curious too.
I like the other suggestion, the not like going away from the voices, not towards them. I like that suggestion. Let's all in favor.
How about not?
Old Rob is
Come over
probably the
here, you
only person with his
whippersnapper, and
hand
listen.
raised. We're the same age. Mark that on your bingo cards, everyone. We have managed to say that.
Well, get over here and determine if it's coming from something that the mushrooms are somehow whispering to you, or if it's coming from beyond the mushrooms. And then we can find out whether we need to avoid mushrooms or whether we need to avoid that direction or whether we need to go in that direction.
Old Rob will hold his breath and cover his face with one side of his bathrobe and approach the mushroom.
Okay. You get a stronger sense that the whispers are coming from this direction, although it's still like they're still coming from all around you. But your sense is that somewhere in this grove of trees and mushrooms off to the, actually genuinely, let's call that east, that is where the origin of the whispers is.
So not on the map, off the map to the east.
Off the map to the east, I'm afraid. This is a very cool map, and it's also too small.
It is a cool map, though.
As like what happened
It's gorgeous.
when we go off the edge of the map to the east, we end up coming in from the west. It's a totally different, it's a legally distinct portion of the forest that everyone there understands that it is a separate portion of the forest and not the same map looped. Not unlike Hanna-Barbera cartoons where they'll run down the same hallway for 45 seconds with the same 3 doors going past them, but everyone understands they've gone to a different part of the abandoned mansion. To that end, I'm moving Old Rob to here. Old Rob has circumnavigated the forest. I've proven the forest is round.
Okay,
in
I'm
all
just listening to
seriousness.
the audio, and I can almost detect it.
In all seriousness, Old Rob does walk around the mushrooms, realizing that it's not coming from the mushrooms, but off in that direction. And Old Rob continues to sort of just like edge off in the direction that the sound is coming from, eventually uncovering his nose and mouth as he gets further from the mushrooms.
Okay. Well, there isn't really a further from the mushrooms.
Then old Rob does
There are
not
more mushrooms.
uncover his nose and mouth. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to breathe spores.
Yeah, it's. Hang on, I'm sorry. I've got to check on something.
I don't know if it's just me, but listening to the audio for this particular map, I can almost, are the wind noise whisper noises? My brain will happily turn them into such.
By the way, I did a search for forest tracking and I found this GIF, which I don't know if they're tracking
Oh dear.
or being tracked.
I mean, the tank has tracks.
I mean, there is that, yes.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow.
Mushroom forest.
Well,
This
previously,
does not have quite the right color scheme.
the previous map was
But-
kind of cramped, but this one, there is mushroom.
Yes.
Yes.
Make it more autumny, huh?
Yes, make it more autumny, basically.
Grab
And turn the mushrooms from red and white into more button mushrooms.
Look for the slider that says seasons and just slide it all the way over to autumn. And then grab the saturation slider and slide it all the way over to 150%.
I think I'm going to sneak into these bushes here.
Okay. They are indeed bushes. You can indeed sneak into them. You have followed the whispers until you reach what is essentially a grove with a pond. There are some mushrooms, but they're not as big here. They are like house-sized rather than skyscraper-sized.
The others were skyscraper sized.
Not skyscraper-sized. These are
From a
maybe
mushroom perspective.
these are maybe twice as tall as an average human. The others were 5 to 6 times as tall.
Okay.
My, they're a tall one.
You got a mush room, you've got a mush house, you've got a mush apartment building, you've got a mush skyscraper, yeah.
And there's all these little blue
Sounds
humanoids
mushy.
that are singing songs.
Just as long as they're
The
not
whispering-
sneaking.
The whispering is now like you don't have to be paying attention to hear it. Rob, it still does sound like it's that adventurer that you used to know. And, well, I'll let you come into the clearing as you like.
Seems to be a fallen tree over here.
I'm waiting for half a dozen Nexu fish to magically appear.
And on the other side of the fallen tree is, in fact, a structure that looks an awful lot like,
Skeleton ribcage nonsense?
yeah, the rib cage of something gigantic.
Okay, go investigate that careful like.
I'll come out of the bushes.
Always good to have somebody in the bushes in reserve.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed if you gotta
That-
go, you gotta go.
Are those bones?
Well, I
or is
was
it made
being
of-
sneaky, but
I mean, it's good
Look,
to have
who else is
somebody
in
being
the group?
sneaky while. Yeah. Is that stone or bone or wood?
You're going to have to get pretty close to tell.
Yeah,
I'd
she'll
possibly
come
lick it.
here.
Yeah.
We're just gonna tap it with something and like a fingernail and
Old Rob gives
You
it a
never know, a
thwack
bit of
with his
licking.
walking stick. The one that he scavenged on our first night / morning that likely would break the first time he used it as a real weapon.
Oh.
I think I wrote that in the notes.
Mhm.
Yep. Staff, salvaged firewood will likely break. Medium weapon, hindered requires 2 hands. I use one hand
Looks
to
like
slap.
bone.
Looks like bone. Okay.
It looks like bone. It could be very cunningly disguised wood or stone.
I think
It's-
I will refrain from licking it.
It's actually
That's
paper mache.
does Karasinda know that if you lick bone, it has a different
No.
curses? Otherwise, she would lick it.
Would old Rob know?
Aracinda has not. No.
We do not have paleontology.
Paleontology has not been a thing in this world at least for 500 years.
Would Adelina know?
I
No.
don't know.
Look, we
I
asked
think
about
she does.
everyone else. I figured I would just throw in the last person.
Well, why not? Yeah.
Would Darrow
She
know?
knew she could hear it, but that's about it.
All right, let's all listen now.
Yeah, everybody actually go ahead and make me a roll.
Okay.
That's a 19
Old
again.
Rob in here with another 19.
Oh,
I knew I heard that voice before.
And
And Jen got a rock. I mean, a one.
Adelina with a 1. The
Yeah.
GM will remember that.
Okay.
Old Rob, you're the first to realize that mound inside the rib cage with the funny looking shape sticking out of it might be more than a mound.
It's an almond joy.
Yes, because sometimes you feel like a nut.
Mhm. It's a mimic.
I'm waiting for Old Rob to respond.
You told me that it isn't just a mound. The player's
It might.
mind is going in directions. I don't know how old Rob's mind would be going.
It's a mound about, let's call it 5.5 feet long and 2.5 feet wide. And there is an odd oblong shape sticking out of it.
I poke the odd
It's really
oblong
overgrown.
shape with my walking stick.
Okay. There's some give. It rustles like you poked it with a stick.
I do it again with the intent of trying to figure out what it is, possibly pulling it out from where it is, but I continue to use my walking stick to do this.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, your might is a 13.
But remember, that's endurance, that's not strength.
I know. You give the shape a prod, and it wobbles for a second and, like, sort of turns on its axis and falls.
Does it clank?
And the other end of it comes up out of the mound. And unlike the rest of it, it is not overgrown.
It's a
It
seesaw.
is nice and shiny and sharp and is straight right up until it comes to a point.
Sword or spear?
It is much too long to be a spear unless it's a very long spear.
Tooth? No, shiny. What?
I don't think I like that.
I don't like how it's still shiny after being buried for who knows how long.
Adelina, what is that?
Not sure. I'm gonna go pick it
Adelina,
up.
I'm not even going to make you roll. Well,
Okay.
actually, go ahead and roll.
Yeah. All right. 14.
14.
I want to see how well you do.
Yeah. Okay.
You know the make and
What
model.
do I get with a roll of 14? I know the make and model of it. Okay.
You, with a 14 on a roll where the difficulty was 0,
Mhm.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a sword.
Oh.
It's a sword of the style that the people of Dunport make.
Interesting.
And that
Yeah.
was what I was going to give you if I didn't make you roll.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
Mhm.
you rolled a 14 now, and you rolled a 1 earlier.
I did.
So not only is this a sword, not only is this a sword of the sort that the people of Dunport make, this is a sword you recognize. This is a sword you watched your teacher make.
I just realized this is a sword inside a rib cage. It's the sword in the bone.
Oh,
It is that, yes.
Yes.
is it
Okay.
bent?
I
No,
don't think so.
Okay.
it is shockingly good condition.
I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay,
Yep.
by all means.
Yep. This looks familiar. And I'm like,
This
Okay.
was,
around. Go ahead.
Adelina, this was a custom job made specifically for a particular person. You were very, very young when you watched them do this, but the sword stuck in your mind because it was so much metal,
There's a lot of
and
metal.
your teacher worked so hard on it, and your teacher put magic into it to keep it clean and keep it sharp,
That's
to
why I was like,
convince it to be clean and sharp and reliable.
To keep it secret and keep it safe. Wait, no, that's something else.
That's something else.
Wonder how it ended up here.
It is about, I would say about 3 feet long.
Okay. How tall is
That's most of
Adelina?
It has,
Hmm.
it has, I don't know the word, but the hilt and the guard are very finely wrought. and it has a gem set in the pommel.
What color is it?
The gem is red,
Oh wow.
and the guard and the hilt, you know for a fact it's not gold,
Right, right.
but
That'd be way too expensive.
it has been convinced to look like gold.
Neat. So I'm gonna relay to the other players a little bit of this is the sword I saw someone make when I was a little kid.
This was just part of
So
the
I
mound,
suppose
right?
it's in.
Resolve what Devin's asking first.
Okay. What was Devin asking? Sorry.
So, is it in the rib cage because it killed whatever this was? Or was the rib cage placed over a burial mound?
I don't know
Or
about
did
that.
someone crawl into the rib cage and die?
Old Rob is checking this. Old Rob is going at the rest of the mound. At this point, with probably just his bare hands, trying to dig out to see what he's assuming is there, but doesn't want to be there.
It is not very long at all before you hit bone. And these bones aren't big.
Is there any cloth, fabric, leather?
Yes, cloth and leather.
Well, that's a bit concerning.
Belongings, a satchel, anything that
Not
can
that
be
you
used.
see right now.
Can I determine how they were dressed? Style of clothing, perhaps.
Jewelry.
Yes. Well, depending on how long you dig, yes.
Old Rob will want to keep digging until he knows more about who this was.
Okay.
Or until someone stops him.
The cloth is, when it wasn't just scraps, it was probably royal blue. The leather is pretty good quality, but it's been nibbled at. But
It's a shame it wasn't denim.
no, you would still have to be underground for that. Denim.
Got it.
Denim.
But you're not sure until you find the pendant with the green gem set into it.
Does it look like the kind that we're wearing? That's
No.
supposed to protect. Okay.
There's a red gem in
not
the
at all.
sword. There's a green gem in the pendant. It's red-green. I look for duct tape.
It is either someone who's stolen your clothes and the whispering has been getting louder, or it's one of the adventurers.
Wow.
And Rob, now that you think about it, you recognize that sword too.
Wait. Rob turns and looks directly at Adelina. You remember this being made?
Yeah, I was really little.
How old
Well, I mean,
are
not
you?
size. I was young. How old is she? Well, she's a young adult. I'm
5
guessing.
million years. Adelina has outlived
Yeah,
us
that's how
all.
long Felt has lived. Sure. I think she would have been a child. She's like, I don't know, maybe like 19 or something like that. But she remembered this because it was really shiny and interesting.
I
Yeah,
remember.
You would have been
Remember-
3 or 4 when this was made.
Yeah. Hadn't seen it in a while. I don't know how I got here.
No, that can't be right. That can't be right.
What do you mean?
I remember this sword too. And the last time I saw it, you weren't born yet.
You sure about that? No, they were mixed. Oh.
I remember it. I remember them. And old Rob points at the corpse.
Who is it?
It's one of the adventurers
Adventure-
who dropped me off.
I am suddenly very concerned about our enemy and time travel and also I
We're
don't
trying
know
to find.
what to say.
We're trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, and so far we've got 9 corner pieces.
It's a start, I guess.
No, it's time
Well,
travel.
it says a jigsaw has to be square. And this one probably has bits that stick up in the air, too.
Look, before this metaphor gets away from us more than it already has, I don't have the energy to catch up to it. Now I'm mixing my metaphors. Point is, you remember it being made,
Mhm.
but I remember it being used. Long before either of you, pointing at Devin and Adelina, was around.
How would I remember a sword that wasn't around, though? I mean, isn't this it?
We already know time travel's possible.
Just to be clear, Karacinda, you don't remember this sword. Neither do you, Devin.
I wouldn't think I would.
Just making sure.
The question is, what happened to those adventurers when they wandered off into the wild magic?
I don't know.
At this point, where is everybody? Like I can see you on
Always
the map, but
standing around about where the
Where the-
stone bone thing is.
Old Rob is standing next. Well, actually, no. Old Rob is still kneeling next to the corpse. If Old Rob needs to be within the rib cage to do that, then that's where Old Rob is.
Devin is looking like he wants to put a hand on Old Rob's shoulder, but isn't sure if he should.
Jen, would you go ahead and make me a roll, please?
Sure. What kind of roll do you want?
And
Just a d20 or something else?
I want, D20.
Okay. Here is a d20.
Oh,
Nice.
easily made it.
Yeah. 17.
So the sword is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's got a long, straight blade. The what do you call it? The furrow down the middle.
Mm.
It's got a name, and I can't remember what it is.
Can't remember.
That is exactly the right depth on both sides. The hilt and the guard are beautifully wrought. The gem is perfectly set and it sparkles. You realize that there's one thing wrong with it,
What's wrong with it?
which is that just above the guard, your teacher always stamped his work, and that stamp is missing.
Oh no.
You're holding a mimic.
And you remember
Mm-hmm.
that the sword, like I said, that you watched your master make was a custom job.
That's why his name's down on it. Or maybe, I don't know. Kind of babbling to myself trying to figure this out. Probably
Mhm.
So
making
that
everyone else nervous.
so with the babbling, that would imply that we're getting some of this context as Adelina's realizing it.
Mhm.
Yes.
So they might not be the same sword then. It might
Maybe
be
not.
that custom job was
Replica.
because somebody was aware of the plan for this sword.
Or, given when it was made, somebody had already used it.
Could be that.
And as you say that, Rob, long, thin bones grab your wrist.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to end it tonight.
Of course.
Wow.
But at least it doesn't have its sword on it.
You left
Does
me
anybody
alone
have
for all
anything they'd
those
like to plug?
decades, and now you reach out and grab me? I had to come find you.
Okay, that's where we're going to end it.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Let's do that.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to plug?
Ears Mom writes books, ElizabethMcCoy.com. And I occasionally see that libraries have bought it, and that is just absolutely awesome. So tell your library that my cheap ebooks exist. And then you get to read them for free, and I still get paid. It's wonderful. I love it.
It is a shame that the Libby app and Overdrive are now owned by a private equity firm, but
Yeah.
there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. So still support
I mean, you can
independent
always just-
authors.
Yes, you can always go and buy them. They're pretty cheap for other people too. But I mean, like, if you give me money, then that gives me money that I can donate to other people who need money.
Yep.
And speaking of books,
My website is bookofjen.net. It's got some Diablo content on there. There'll always be that. Book reviews, all kinds of things, whatever I feel like doing. Again, that's bookofjen.net. And I'm also the host of the Shattered Soulstone podcast, which I haven't been doing because I've been fighting a sinus infection. But the newest one should come out tomorrow, I hope, and you can find it at shatteredsoulstone.com.
And speaking of websites,
You can find all of these podcasts for 4 different campaigns and 3 different TTRPG rule sets at aaronbsmith.com/cogwheel. You can follow us on the Fediverse at is.aaronbsmith.com/@cogwheel. You can join our Patreon at patreon.com/cogwheelgaming and join other illustrious patrons, including Ellie, Shen, Walter, and patron emeritus Cindy.
and until next time, this is Ellie saying, they left me too. Good night, everybody.
good night.
Never wanted to hug a skeleton before.
Oh,
And I don't want to hug it, but maybe pat it on the head.
maybe.
There's a chance that old Rob is filthier.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's an oh dear.
Yeah.
He beats his
Okay.
bathrobe against a rock to clean it off every 3 months, whether it needs it or not.
Oh my god.
That's not
Let's
canon.
just shove old Rob in the river, shall we?
It,
Just
ra-
go walk
it rained
along,
last
go
month.
shower.
That counted as a bath.
Only if you stood out in it.
It was a long walk. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording now.
Okay.